Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting on Monday, March 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Beth, can we have a roll call, please?
Select Chair, Mr. DeRoche.
Here.
Select Vice Chair, Mr. Coy.
Yep.
Selectman Mr. Britton.
Present.
Selectman Mr. Gifford.
Here.
And no, for the record, Town Manager Mr. Colby is here.
Thank you, Beth. If we could stand for the pledge. Camden, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next up, we have public comment. Anyone here in the audience wishing to speak? There are none, but we do have an email that was sent in that was requested to have read into the minutes. It's from a resident on Davis Park, Lisa Sinney. I have lived in Davis Park for close to 25 years. I'm opposed to parking restrictions or any other restrictions on Davis Park. Davis Park is town-owned, but it is also a neighborhood greenway that is shared by the 13 homes in the neighborhood. Every single house has used Davis Park for their own parking and for guest parking over the years. Davis Park is not used and has not been used by the town at large since I have lived there. The park is indeed in sad state of disrepair. The damage to Davis Park isn't only due to a few vehicles leaving a few tire tracks on the side of Davis Park. The park has suffered many years of drought, sand, salt, gravel, overall neglect for many years. The trees are diseased, half dead, and there are many tree stumps all around the park. The grass that is there is sparse. The narrow road is not wide enough to park on the paved portion and allow emergency vehicles to pass. Delivery trucks, landscapers regularly block the road. There is barely room for two average-sized vehicles to pass safely. Homes on the even side of the street have smaller lots and lack frontage for themselves and their guests. There is no choice but to either park on the paved portion or to pull off to the side so that vehicles can safely pass. No one is parking in the middle of the park. I'm also against adding Davis Park to the Plaistow Town Code 130 parks. Davis Park should not be added to the Town Code 130 parks. Davis Park shares no common characteristics with any of the town parks, Ingalls Terrace, Pollard Park, or Park. Davis Park is not a lush green space that is well maintained with barriers, locking gates, lighting, and fences. It has no fields, no play structures, no amenities. Most of all, Davis Park has no parking. There is no parking for residents, and there is no parking for the public. I'm not in favor of hours of use restriction, parking guidance, or any other restrictions in the neighborhood. I don't want to see police patrols enforcing grass parking ordinances when their services are desperately needed elsewhere to do the real police work of the safety. I urge BOS to request a formal analysis to be performed on the conformance of the paved road to current standards and requirements and resolve those issues with non-conforming road before moving to any other restrictions or usage or parking guidance that will negatively affect all 13 homes. Thank you, Lisa Sinney, 13 Davis Park. Thank you, Lisa, for your letter. We will take it under advisement. Anyone else from public comment? All right, moving on to our regular agenda item. First up, we have the fire department junior firefighters. So we have the police chief, Chris Knudsen, and Lieutenant Travers here. So come on up, gentlemen.
You can sit in the middle. No. You're talking, right?
You're talking,
You're
right?
talking, right?
Yeah, I'm talking.
This is like a comedy skit.
I know, right? Dumber.
Plaistow Fire Drill.
Right?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the items I inquired about when I started in 2020 was a junior firefighting program. It's important for the sustainability of especially a call department to bring young minds in and get them interested in public safety and start getting them orientated to what we're doing and hopefully hook them so when they turn 18, we can transition them right into a position on the call fire department or per diem or wherever it is that we might need them. So kind of inquired about that. They used to have a junior program here. It kind of lost interest with participation. Obviously, you got to have participants if you want to have a program. Since then, we've kind of survived through COVID, which delayed trying to recruit some. And a year ago, this last December, I guess it was, we were actually at Walmart collecting Philly ambulance for toys. And I talked to Mr. Travers here about the interest in starting another junior program. And he's since done above and beyond. Lieutenant Travers has traveled to other towns looking at what they do, developing policies and procedures on what we could do. And also with that is recruited 6 kids that are extremely talented and interested in the field of public safety. So I want to give all the credit to Lieutenant Travers here for the hard work that he's done, and I think he's prepared a short presentation. Shouldn't take more than about an hour and a half, 2 hours. 2 hours to kind of go over things.
I'm going to be a lot faster than an hour and a half. I can guarantee you that. So I'm extremely proud of this program, and I thank the chief for giving myself and firefighter Gussler is on his way here too. He's been helping me with the program. BJ was one of the advisors in the old Explorer program that we used to have that disbanded quite some time ago. And just to give you a little background, so they used to have the old Explorer post that used to be here. We've opted to get away from the BSA. There's a lot of red tape that's involved in becoming a BSA member. And I really wanted to go with a program that was more driven by a fire service. So this program here that we're doing we're not an Explorer post per se. We're a junior fire department that is run under the National Volunteer Fire Council. So the National Volunteer Fire Council, for people who don't know what it is, it's kind of like the IAFF of the volunteer fire service. They are the ones that kind of govern the volunteer fire service for people. Like, they're kind of like the union for the volunteer fire service, even though there's no collective bargaining or anything, but they look after the national volunteer firefighters. So they've developed this program, and we actually have a whole curriculum that we got through the National Volunteer Fire Council, and I'll explain how I kind of got into this as I go along the presentation. So let's see here. Next. Here we go. All right. So what is the Plaistow Junior Fire Department? Again, as I explained, through the conjunction of the National Volunteer Fire Council, the Plaistow Junior Fire Department is comprised of firefighters from both Plaistow and Atkinson who are introducing youths to the Timberlane School District about the career in the fire service and EMS. Our goal is to offer kids a fun, safe, controlled environment to learn about the careers of fire and EMS. So we're doing twofold things here. We're not just doing the fire department side of it. We're also bringing the kids involved in EMS. The first thing I've done with the kids when we started the program was we got every kid CPR certified. That was our number one. It's really the CPR portion of it is kind of the backbone of everything we do in the fire service and EMS. Everybody needs to know CPR. So that was the first goal. So we had Captain Vizina, who's our in-house CPR instructor, get all the kids certified in CPR right from the very beginning. So that was important for us to get that squared away. So how did we hear about the program? So my son Camden has been going to a program in West Newbury for about 6 months prior to us starting the program here in Plaistow. Camden is under the tutelage of Deputy Chief Dave Evans, who runs a very, very, very successful program in West Newbury. He's been running this program for 10, 12 years now, and he has pretty much homegrown his whole fire department based upon this program. So we had meetings with Deputy Chief Evans here in Plaistow. He came and spelled it all out to Chief Knutson, and we kind of took the ball from there and ran with it. And here we are today running this program here in Plaistow. So we did a recruitment day at Timberlane last October. As you can see, we have one of our junior firefighters here that got all geared up. That's how we found Mr. Bingham over here, one of our juniors. So we had a recruitment day at Timberlane where we brought in a bunch of our gear, we brought in a bunch of equipment, we let the kids kind of go through them and stuff, and I put a sign-up sheet. We had like 10 or 12 kids sign up, and unfortunately, of the 12 kids that signed up, 6 of them are participating. But I will tell you that the 6 that we have right now participating are tremendously involved in the program. They love the program. It's going very well, and so far they're really enjoying the program. And I will say that we have bumped up the program from 6 to 9. We did get 2 new students and 1 kid that came in who wanted to observe a night and see if it was for him. So I think he's going to jump on board too. I will say that the program is open exclusively to Timberlane students. However, if I have open spots and a kid, like one kid came from Southampton because his group disbanded, he said, "Can I join?" And I said, "If you need a place to come, I'm going to take you. If I have openings, I'll take another kid from somewhere else. I'm not going to deny any kid the opportunity to come in and learn and potentially find his career path." So I just wanted to point that out. So what are the goals of the program? The goals of the program is to recruit the future of fire and EMS services within the Timberlane School District and the surrounding towns, and to provide quality level training and leadership development to the youths in our community. So, we have a good group of firefighters and EMTs that are willing to give up our time to train these kids in what their career paths could be in the fire and EMS service. We do have one member from Atkinson who wants to be more involved, and he has come to one meeting with us, but he keeps telling me, he's like, I need to make more, I need to make more. So, and the other thing too is that I'll let you know that there are some of the other fire departments, like Chief Devine from Sandown. We have two girls here from Sandown that are in the program, and Chief Devine has said, if you ever need anything from me, if you ever want to do a meeting in Sandown, we could go and have a meeting in Sandown. Maybe we can use some of our training props and whatever we have to offer. So we've been getting a lot of outreach from the different departments in the town. We've been getting it from Sandown, Atkinson, Danville, and obviously here in Plaistow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they've been the other surrounding departments have been great to us.
Good.
So what are the requirements? You have to be students in the Timberlane students district or surrounding towns. So as I said, Timberlane students get first preference. Age requirements, they're 14 to 18, boys and girls can join if they'd like. I will say that if you're graduating in your 18th year, if you turn 18 and you're still in school, I'm not throwing you out of the program. You can stay on, but at that point you can also become a volunteer with the department, and you can continue on both with us and as a volunteer with the department. The goal is by the time you're 18, if you're truly into this field, that you can go to the academy the day after you graduate to the next academy class and become a full-fledged member of the department once you get your Fire 1 certification. All students are required to get a physical from their PCP or get a sports physical through an urgent care center. This is just to make sure we're covering our bases. We're making sure all the kids are healthy. All students must require quarterly report cards. So the National Fire Council says that they have to have a C average or better. I know in this day and age, a lot of these kids struggle through some of these classes. I'll tell you right now, if you put me in some of these math classes, I would probably never have a D average in any math class. So I give a little bit of leeway to the kids. If there's a question on some of their report cards, and I can reach out to the teacher and say, hey, look, this kid's struggling with this. Are they putting in the effort? As long as I know they're putting in the effort into their program and not, just slacking off, I'm fine with that. As long as the kids are putting in the effort in school. And of course, all these kids have to have a willingness to learn about the fire and EMS services. I think that's ultimately the biggest goal and the biggest thing that we want these kids to come in with is an ability to want to be a firefighter or EMT or both. So when do we meet? Currently, right now, we meet every other Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m., although I think the kids want to go a lot more than every other Sunday, right, Cliff? Yes. So I'm trying to expand those times based upon my schedule and my availability. I'm hoping that when the good weather comes and we can get out a little bit more, when I can get out with the truck and flow some water and do some other things with the kids, we'll expand that to maybe one more a week, just so I can have a Sunday once in a while off for myself. But listen, if the kids are willing to learn and the kids want to get out, I'm willing to give up the time. I have no issue with that. It's not about me. It's about the kids in the community. So. All right, so what do the junior firefighters learn? I have this, and let's see if this works. So these kids, obviously, like I said from the beginning, course, this isn't going to work, right? All right. Well, from the beginning, the kids are going to learn CPR, first aid, and they're going to learn how to use an AED. We did that the first night out. We did CPR and first aid. We're actually next week, Captain Vizina is going to do Stop the Bleed with them, and going to do infant CPR with them as part of their CPR training. So they already got their adult and child CPR. They already got their certifications in CPR, and we'll just finish up with the infant CPR next week. And they're going to learn how to do the Stop the Bleed class, where the kids will actually learn how to use tourniquets and how to do pressure dressings and things like that. So in case they encounter somebody who's bleeding profusely, they know how to stop that. We did a visit to dispatch so they can understand the 911 system. Dispatcher Cruz gave them a tremendous tour of the dispatch center. She was very receptive to having the kids come in. They got to learn how our calls come in, how our calls are generated, how they're dispatched. They got to see, the police side a little bit of it, understand like how the police get dispatched to and how we work together, and how like the main focal point of what happens in the town is based upon what happens in that office. So they got, some of these kids could turn off and be dispatchers, so that's just another component of the whole public safety component that they got to see, is the dispatch center and the communication center. So the kids are learning how to get into their gear and get out of their gear. There's a process to putting your gear on. There's a process of, Jay, when you come and ride with us, we're going to teach you how to get in and out of your gear. So be ready for that.
Is that the midnight shift he's coming?
Yeah, he's coming midnight.
I might be too old for the junior firefighter program.
You're never too old to be a junior firefighter, right? So we teach the kids how to get in and out of their gear appropriately. There are some NFPA specifics where you have to be in your gear in a certain amount of time, and you have to have it on appropriately, and you have to make sure that you're covering all areas of your body, so you're not exposed to any contaminants while you're working on a fire ground. So we do a lot of donning and doffing gears. Each junior has a set of turnout gear. There's a slide later on. I'll show you how much gear we've been given, but each junior has been given a set of turnout gear. We got a ton of gear from the Sandown Fire Department, like tubs of old gear that have been sitting around doing nothing. And now all these kids have their own set of turnout gear. They all have a helmet, they all have gloves, they all have a hood, they all have a pair of boots. They have a complete set of turnout gear that they can utilize for their training purposes here within the junior fire department. We teach them how to use their CBA, don and doff their CBA, and all the components of the CBA. So our last class, we had them get into their packs. We had them put them on. We had them teach them the different ways to put it on, whether the jacket method or the over-the-head method. We taught them how to turn on their bottles. We taught them where all the RIT connections were on the bottle. We taught them how they would take their face pieces, connect to their face pieces. So we went through the whole gamut of how to get in and out of the SCBAs, and how to prepare for when you're done with the SCBAs, how you put them away. So we went through the whole aspect of getting in and out of SCBAs and utilizing your SCBAs. And we're new into the program, so a lot of the stuff that we haven't gotten into, but this is some of the other stuff that we'll be doing. We'll be teaching them how to do search and rescue. Some of these slides you'll see that are from Camden when he does his training in West Newbury. I'll take a lot of pictures of him when he's doing his stuff at West Newbury. Old picture. It's not that old. It's pretty old. Ground ladders and aerial ladders. So we'll teach the kids how to throw ladders. We'll teach them how to climb ladders appropriately. We'll teach them how to foot a ladder. We'll teach them how to do ladder locks. We'll teach them how to do how to place a ladder appropriately for either rescue or for ventilation. And then we'll let them climb the aerial ladder. We're not going to put the aerial ladder at 80 degrees at 100 feet. We'll do like 40 degrees at 50 feet or something like that, but enough that they can get the idea of how to climb an aerial ladder on the fire ground. Firefighter survival. As you can see, more pictures of my son here, but this is stuff that we'll do here. They'll learn how to follow a hose. We'll blank out their mask, and we'll teach them how to follow a hose line from one end of the building to another. We'll put a little bit of a spaghetti loop in it to make sure that they're following the right hose through whatever maze they're in. And then there's other props that we have within our station that we can do, like entanglement props or getting through, breaching a wall, so they can get the idea of how to get from one wall to the other if they have to escape from one room to another. We'll do down firefighter CPR, so that there's a process that we have when we do CPR on a down firefighter. So again, these are the things that we'll learn, that our juniors are all going to learn as part of the program. And other things that we're going to do is ropes and knots, some auto extrication, fire behavior, and much more. We have a whole curriculum. We have a whole setup. And the nice thing is, I'm pretty fresh out of the academy over the course of the last 5 years. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, I'm teaching right out of the academy. So they're going to learn the stuff that I'm learning, or I've learned through the chief over the course of his trainings in the last couple of years. So these kids are going to get a lot out of this program. And they're gonna learn a lot, and hopefully we're gonna make good firefighters and EMTs out of them. 5 out of our 6 kids right now are attending the New Hampshire State Academy in June. So the New Hampshire State Fire Academy holds obviously they got COVIDed out the last couple of years. They are rerunning the program again this year. The program is held from June 21st to the 30th. It's a week-long program. They live in the fire. They live at the academy. They live in the dorms. They're going to stay there. They have an action-packed week. They will not stop until they go to bed, and then they're going to wake up, and then they're going to go running right from the beginning of the morning. And I'm going to watch them as they run by me, and I'm going to.
You're not going to run with them?
I'm not going to run with them. No, you don't want to see me run. So they'll stay in the dorms. Guess what? They have to be electronics free for the week too. No cell phones, no nothing. They are only there to focus on just learning and having fun and interacting with everybody. And they have an action-packed week. They're going to get hands-on experience with gear and equipment used by the fire and EMS personnel on a daily basis. And the experience, they're going to be taught by the academy instructors at the academy. And some of these kids will come out with some of their pro board certifications after this is done. The way they used to do it, just so you know, is that they used to have age groups, and the age groups like the 14s and 15s would get these certifications, and the 15s and 16s would get these certifications. But the problem is because COVID came along, a lot of these kids don't have the certification from 14, 15, 16. So they're trying to kind of like catch up on this. So I'm not really quite sure how they're going to run everything this time around, but they have a pretty action-packed week ahead for them. So
Awesome.
it's great. So what's the future for these kids? Ultimately, we're home-growing our own firefighters and EMT professionals. You know, there's nothing more than I would rather see is a truck full of Plaistonians driving around in a Plaistow fire truck and taking care of the people in their own community. I think it's important that we home-grow our own firefighters and EMS professionals. You know, there's a lot of people who don't know how to get into this field or are afraid to get into the field. And, you know, we're ultimately trying to bring people in, get them exposed to it, and hopefully get them on our trucks, because I think that's important. Juniors will have so one of the requirements that I do say is that if a kid comes from Sandown, if a kid comes from Southampton, my expectation of them is for them to join their fire department. They can come here as a junior, but I want them to join their fire department because we're all hurting right now. Staffing and EMS in the fire department right now is probably the worst I've ever seen it. I remember a day where you would get, you know, one position somewhere in the state of Massachusetts and 200 applicants, and now it's not the same as it used to be. And right now there's less qualified individuals to fill seats in New Hampshire than there are qualified people to fill them. So hopefully by doing this program, we're going to fill our seats, and we're going to fill some of the other seats in some of the other towns too. Currently, the state of New Hampshire has a program that for the kids, so you could actually go to EMT school at zero cost. It's through the New Hampshire State Fire Academy. They are offering you the opportunity to go to school if you're sponsored by a particular organization like the fire department or something to pay for your way through EMT school. Also, the Timberlane High School has a CTE program that kids can go and get their EMT license in their junior year or senior year. So if you want to get your EMT license in your junior or senior year, the Timberlane will send you to Salem where you can get your CTE for EMS. And ultimately, the goal is when they go to the academy at 18, they're rock stars. They've already done a lot of the training that they're gonna learn at the academy. They're gonna be ahead of the game, and they're gonna fly through the academy like it's gonna be like nothing. They're gonna already have all this training ahead of them, and when they get to the academy, they're gonna breeze right through it. Also, I just want to make mention, and I didn't put it in the slide here, but there are programs too for these kids when they graduate from high school. The Lakes Region Community College does have live-in programs where these kids can go to school and at the Lakes Region Community College, and they can live in the fire station for their 2 years, get their associate's degree in fire science, and they can get all their fire certs, everything they need, and walk away with an associate's degree. They live in the fire station. They get paid per call while they're there, and they're. I mean, how cool is that? You know, for a program like that for these kids. So there's a lot of opportunities for them right after graduation if they're interested in the fire and EMS field. So who do we have to thank? I have to thank Chief Knutson for allowing myself and firefighter Gussler to kind of get this program off the ground. There was a lot of planning involved. We had a couple meetings, like I said, with Chief Evans, and you know, I'm excited about moving down this road by utilizing the National Volunteer Fire Council's curriculum. I think it's a much better curriculum. Atkinson, Sandown, and obviously Plaistow, they have all donated some of the gear to the kids. I don't want to leave out Danville. I actually have a lead in Danville for air packs. I think Danville's going to donate like 10 to 15 air packs for the kids. So that's the big component of this whole thing. Doug Thompson put this organization on the map. I reached out to Doug. I wanted to try to cut some of the costs for these kids to go to the fire academy. Each kid was going to have to pay $500. And Doug put out on Plaistow Community Cares, and we've raised almost $2,500 to date for the kids to cut some of that cost from them going to the academy. The Lions Club is going to offer a donation to us, which I think is great from them. I talked to, I'm sorry, Jay, what was I forget what his name was.
Alan Davis?
Yes, Alan Davis. And he came over, gave me a big hug, and the other night, and said, "We got your back." He says, "We'll take care of you." And then Dave Florin and the Scott Weinhold Memorial Fund. So Dave's one of our firefighters here. He's offering a donation to us as well. I don't know if you know Dave. Dave's one of our firefighters in town. His son passed away about 2 years ago in a boating accident in Texas, and he's opened up a memorial to help out firefighters and juniors and things like that to help pay scholarships and things like that. So Dave's going to offer some of that to us as well. So there's other donations coming in. I don't have them all off the top of my head, but you know something? The amount of outreach I've seen through the Plaistow Community Cares and the people in the community that have helped these kids out is tremendous. And if anybody's watching tonight, I thank you a lot because it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the kids. Stop. So
You've
Stop.
almost cried so much throughout this entire week. I swear.
stop. It's personal for me because I want these kids. I wish these programs were available for me when I wanted to be a firefighter, and they weren't. So we're going to give these kids the opportunities that they deserve. And if Alora and Cliff and the other ones that couldn't make it tonight, they're all impressive, and they show up every week, and they go upstairs and they grab their gear, they come downstairs, and they're ready for the next lesson. So I'm very proud of them. I also want to make one point too is that our juniors are allowed to come to the fire department's trainings as well. Whether or not they can participate is another thing. So obviously the full timers and the staff at the fire department need to get their training in too. So if we can find a place to put them into the training and fit them in, we will. But it depends on the level of what we're doing that night. But whether or not they can participate, they can still observe, and that's important as well.
So there's a lot of restrictions on what they're allowed to do to keep them safe since they are minors.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it's something that we're doing and they participate in it, we let them participate. If it's you can learn a lot just from observing.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So, and then something I like to, to hit on just so I know sometimes it's a hot topic, but this doesn't have an impact on our operating budget. Everything that they do is through donations.
Yep.
The gear that they're utilizing is gear that's expired and can no longer be used for service. So it's just being repurposed.
Yep.
For their
And in that same vein, and maybe the town manager will have more of that, what are we doing for liability?
So we reached out to Primex. I already talked to them. This is not a new program. Primex is well aware of junior programs. They insure other towns that have junior programs. They're not considered town employees, so they don't carry like workers' comp insurance. But if they should get hurt while they're on town property, Primex covers them. So there's really no impact to the insurance.
No, I was more worried that they were insured, so if something happened to them during training, even in town here, that, they'd be covered.
So Primex does cover them if they get hurt while they're training, but they're not considered necessarily a town employee, so you're not having to pay the workers' comp insurance.
Okay.
And that's from Primex, where we reached out to them directly.
And then my final slide is as you can see, the amount of gear that we received from Plaistow, from our department, as well as Atkinson and Sandown. Like I said, Chief Devine dropped us 3 tubs of used gear. Atkinson gave us helmets and boots and gloves and hoods and stuff. And so hopefully, weather permitting, and see what happens tomorrow, I'm going to go to Danville and find out about air packs. But I've literally been on the phone around the world trying to talk to vendors and other fire departments for air packs, and there might be some right in our backyard. So if that works out, keep our fingers crossed. The kids will all get their own air packs. But
Very good.
Anyone have any questions?
We're excited about it. I'm excited about it. I know the kids are excited about it, and I'm very proud of the program, and I'm very proud to be able to come here tonight and hopefully there's other people watching this that says, hey, I'll maybe get my kid involved. Maybe I get my kid into the program. And I think the hardest problem I had was when I went to Timberlane. It was a little dicey when I went there the day I went there, but I don't think a lot of kids got the full impact of what we were trying to get out of it that day. But the kids that did sign up and the kids that did show up are reaping the benefits, and that's important.
And once you get a program started, it gets better. It's easier to keep it going.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, now they get the T-shirts, so they're going to wear the T-shirts in the school, and kids are going to be like, "Oh, what's that all about?" And then, like, Cameron wears a T-shirt, and the kid says, "Hey, what's the junior fire department?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, we're running this thing every couple of weeks. Come in and join." And so.
And plus, it's great. You can see the passion that you have for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for your passion and dedication to this. This is pretty awesome. Thank you, BJ, for all that you guys are doing to help teach these kids the tools. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
I hope I was able to give you a good presentation, and I hope you guys understand the program better. And if Jay, if you want to be a junior firefighter, like I said, I got a set of gear for you. And
So now that we got this program kicked off, the next one I'm working on is a Citizen Fire Academy, and elected officials will be the first to participate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can go forward with that.
do you have something you want to say?
Yeah. So I say even if some of these kids don't become a firefighter or EMT, I feel like some of the stuff that they learn could be very useful if they're in like a situation like a fire.
Mm-hmm.
They can find the hose, find which nozzles, which to go outside.
Absolutely.
Good.
Or CPR or stop bleeding. I feel
Yeah.
like that could be useful even if they don't become a firefighter or EMS.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Gentlemen,
Thanks.
great presentation.
You want to get a quick picture with everybody?
Sure, I'd love to.
All right, let's do that.
You guys can come up.
Snap a picture. Just do it on the side.
What?
All of us.
Oh, us.
It's all of them.
No, we're going out with all of that.
Okay.
Are you coming around or are we going over here?
We'll come over to you
I
guys.
can take a picture with Jay any day I want.
You could.
He usually charges money, though.
Sad part is some of the kids are taller than me.
I'm joining.
I'll take one on that. Yeah, that's good.
Well, I can stay right in front.
You did pretty well.
Oh, sorry. That's okay.
There's a benefit to being 4'11".
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Town report next year.
Exactly.
It started already.
Hey, I know the person to send it to.
What's that?
I know who to send it to get it in there.
That's it.
Exactly.
What's that?
All right.
That's it.
So,
No.
so if anyone out there watch this and have children that are interested, that's 14 to 18, please reach out to the fire department and they'll get you the information you need if you have a child that's interested in learning to be a firefighter. So, great program. All right, next on our agenda, we have the Exchange Club. It's Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we're going to invite up Bob Harb, our town moderator, who's also part of the Exchange Club. So, welcome,
Thank you,
Bob.
Jay, and thank you for having me here tonight. Let me give you a little history about our country and child abuse prevention. In 1983, the president signed a proclamation declaring April to be Child Abuse Prevention Month. It has continued since then. To my knowledge, every president signs a proclamation to make people more aware of child abuse and the prevention of child abuse. In 1989, a grandmother from the South, Bonnie Finney, decided to post a blue ribbon in honor of her grandson who died of child abuse. So in 1983, it turned out that the blue ribbon was considered a symbol for child abuse prevention. The Exchange Club has been promoting the Blue Ribbon campaign since then. The Exchange Club's national program is child abuse prevention. In 2008, Prevent Child Abuse America declared that the blue pinwheel would be the national symbol for child abuse prevention. The Exchange Clubs throughout the country are now planting for April pinwheel gardens. And we were very fortunate last year. This board allowed us to plant a pinwheel garden on the town green. I'm here to ask your permission to do that again. We have grown our pinwheel garden. And last year we put up 50 pinwheels. This year we want to put up over 100 pinwheels. And this year what we'd like to do is put them in the front of the building so anybody coming in, anybody going out will be made aware of April being Child Abuse Prevention Month. These pinwheel gardens are going up all in Rockingham County and also in the lower Merrimack Valley. There was a number of them put up last year in Haverhill. So we'd like your permission to do that again. I and some volunteers will be planting with your permission the night of the 31st. So right away, beginning April, they'll be on our front green. And as you'll note from last year, at the end of April, we pick them up. They're a nice thing. People ask, what are they, what it's about? And that's the reason that we plant them. So people will say, what's April and why have we got blue pinwheels out there? We do have 2 signs that say the Exchange Clubs prevent child abuse. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So that'll give them a good hint why we're doing it and that the town supports the prevention of child abuse. So we'll ask your permission, again, to do that with a larger garden. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we allow it.
All right.
Second.
Second by John. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. The
Do you
club
have
appreciates
like
it.
pamphlets and stuff that you can leave in?
I had sent in to the board a blue ribbon flyer
Okay.
that can be posted, and it talks about what the blue ribbon is and why we're doing this.
Very good.
And it's a nice color flyer, so that'll be nice to post that.
Is
Thank you.
that Beth? Is that something we could work with Dean to get up on the cable channel as well? Post
Thank
that
you, Bob.
flyer?
No, thank you all.
Thanks, Bob.
Awesome.
It's
Great job. Thanks, Bob.
Regrettably, child abuse does not seem to be going away, and we really need to get more people involved in prevention.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I thank you for your support on that.
Thank you.
And I won't leave because I think I'm up next again.
So don't go anywhere too quick. Next,
Change your hat.
next up, we have prepare for elections. As everyone may or may not know, tomorrow is town election at the Plastow Fishing Game Club from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Bob's going to just give us a little overview, and then I think we're going to just work out the schedule for tomorrow for the selectmen and go from there.
We appreciate that. Yes, as Jay said, we are still having elections tomorrow in Plastow, Fish and Game. And this is about the 100th time I've said it, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's a new time, so please, citizens, don't come at 7:01, 7:03, or 8 o'clock. Come 7 to 7. I thank the selectmen for trying the new hours to see how it works. And you will note on the ballot is a warrant article to change the state elections to 7 to 7. That's 12 hours, and the state has been giving us more tasks to do as election officials after the election. So it doesn't lessen the time that your election officials are working. It just gives us more time to work so that we don't get home at 3 in the morning. But I want to let people know, why are we still having elections tomorrow with snow coming? Well, we did not take that lightly. We watched a weather presentation by the state of New Hampshire and the National Weather Service today at noontime. They talked about the storm. They talked about where it was coming, when it would come, how many inches, the rain. Probably what a lot of you may be watching on the news bulletins and the weather reports, but this is directly from the National Weather Service. After that presentation on the upcoming weather, I met with a number of our town officials and safety officials, police, fire, emergency management, the town manager, the town clerk, selectmen, my assistant moderator, the highway department, and myself. And there's probably somebody I missed. And we discussed the upcoming storm and whether we would keep with the elections. The result was all the parties felt we could have a safe election. The highway department will be plowing. We have, I thank Fish and Game. They have a special plow person arranged to plow the parking lot at the Fish and Game. Main Street is a state highway, so that should be plowed. Fire says they're okay for emergency services. We've done everything we can to ensure for our citizens a safe election. It's, as one person said to me, it's New Hampshire, it's going to snow. But we're still concerned about safety. So we didn't take it light to say we're still going to have elections. With the full cooperation and support of all those departments, including the select board, we're going to still have elections. If you're concerned, we had, I'm told by our town clerk, probably around 200 absentee ballots were taken out for people that could not come tomorrow, because under the new law that just went into effect last year, if it's a National Weather Service storm, you don't want to get this right, I think it's warning, the higher level, then they can check the box on the absentee that they're concerned about the weather. They like an absentee ballot. We're not the only town that had a run on Monday, because you could only get that ballot under the new statute on Monday. So you can't go in on Friday or whatever and say, can I have that ballot because there's going to be a weather storm? No, you have to wait till Monday. And we're not the only town that had a run on ballots. So those people were not disenfranchised. They got their ballot. And Martha had more ballots to give out, I think. You also should know that we're part of a collaborative here in the Timberlane Regional School District. There's Plastow, Atkinson, Danville, and Sandown. The new law actually says that, notwithstanding if we were to say we don't want to have an election, if the other three towns said they're going to have their election, by law, we cannot postpone our election. When we're in a cooperative school district like Timberlane, it can only be postponed if 3 out of 4 of the towns vote to postpone. I tell you and our viewing audience that all the towns in our district, Atkinson, Danville, Sanborn, and ourself, all voted to have the election. So we're not alone in saying we believe it can be safe. All efforts will be made to make it safe. As was pointed out to me by one of our select person, who's also the president of Fish and Game, John Gifford, the ramp leading into the election is a covered ramp. So you don't need to worry about being outside if it's raining or snowing. It's because you'll be in the ramp leading up. I hope many of you looked at the video that Dean Zanella and I made that is on the town website that shows where you enter, where you're going to get your ballots, where you're going to vote, and where you're going to exit. I also been told, and I thank, again, Fish and Game, they do have a generator there, and it's been tested, and it's working. So if for some reason power goes down, the machines for the election have batteries, and we're going to have a generator for the property. If I were to give you a hint, I would say, gee, from everything I've seen, you ought to come out and vote in the morning where it's probably going to be raining. So we're expecting, and I'm sure there'll be a lot that will do that, a big outpouring of voters in the early morning stages. But we're open from 7 to 7 at night. We're going to be there. So come by. If you didn't get your absentee ballot today, drive safe. Don't rush. There will be a policeman on Main Street. There'll be a policeman in the parking lot, and we'll have one in the facility. So we will have control for safety there. And the town highway department and all involved are making efforts to sand and salt also. So we just hope we have a safe day. And knowing where we live, my wife always says the wind could come and it could all go out to sea. So who knows?
That's right.
But we're ready to go forward. We're ready to work. All the election officials are ready to work for you. And hopefully we've done everything we can to provide a safe election for everyone.
Okay.
And that's my report.
Thank you, Bob, for all your hard work on that.
Thank you, Bob.
No, I thank you for all your support. So we look forward to seeing all the citizens tomorrow. Exercise your vote. Come out. Fish and Game, 7 to 7. All right, good. We learned. All right, excellent. Thank you very much. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Good
Get
night.
some rest. We'll see you tomorrow. All right. On the note of elections, we need to cover the day. I know we need to have at least 3 selectmen there at the end of the night to sign the ballots. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be able to do that tomorrow. So I know you guys maybe have figured out a schedule already on coverage.
I know I plan on being there pretty much the whole day.
Okay.
I'll be there early.
Me too.
I myself as well.
So
We'll work it amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
We have a couple of different ebbs and ways we have to get around, but
Yeah.
we'll make sure we're all there.
okay.
As long as there's a place downstairs I can take a nap.
There you go.
All right, excellent. So we got the election day covered. So thank you all for all your work on tomorrow. Next up on the agenda, we have it's concerns of speeding on Canterbury Forest. This is a letter from a Pollard student, Blake Mazza. I'm just going to read his letter to us, and maybe we can hand this over to our great PD, and they can go over and take a look. Dear Board of Selectmen, people go slow on my road. I live in Canterbury. People should go slow on my road. I live in Canterbury Forest. My mom had to go into the road to save a 2-year-old because someone was speeding. Bikes could get hit, or maybe the driver could get hurt. Cars on the road come out of nowhere. Finally, maybe you can put speed bumps or maybe speed signs or sidewalks. Respectfully, Blake Mazza. So thank you, Blake, for your letter. We'll make sure we get this over to our Plaistow Police Department. And do you guys have any thoughts, concerns on?
No, I know what he's talking about over there, and it can be a little hairy in that area, so,
And that is a neighborhood too.
yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Colby, can we make sure we get that over to
Absolutely.
Chief Kane, please? Thank you. All right, next, moving along to the approval of the consent agenda. In the consent agenda, we have the accounts payable manifest for the week of March 16th, 2023, BOS draft minutes for March 2nd and March 6th, one veteran tax credit and one elderly exemption application. And if the signature folder has gone around, you just need to initial, but we also need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion made.
Motion by Darrell,
Second.
second by Bill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries 400. All right, moving on to the town manager's report and potable water update.
Thank you. Concentrate primarily on water, but as you know, we've had some public comment over the last couple of weeks with the notices that have gone out. So we are certainly tracking things, very closely. At the end of last week, after the last meeting, we did have 2 different sets of test results come back from the February 24th tests that were performed, and then the next day, the March 3rd tests that were performed. So the February 24th, probably, looked a little worse than the previous ones, but certainly the ones that came back on March 3rd show a real downward trend with the HAA5 levels. Basically, to summarize, coming, through Atkinson and Hampstead area, the East Road discharge came in at a 52.8, which is the 60 as a level, and our Sweet Hill tank was at a 70.9, so just a little bit higher than that. I know, and been in constant contact with Hampstead area and the like to see what they are still doing, and they have February. I think I reported at the last meeting that January we saw about 280,000 gallons of water that was flushed through the system. February was a little bit lighter because of the cold temperatures, and only 87,000 gallons was flushed, which could have led to these higher numbers. So far in March, they have flushed through 381,000 gallons in an attempt to turn that water over. Gene Forbes from Underwood is still working on things with the state to see if we can get reimbursement from that for startup costs. And then the other significant item in talking with Hampstead area is they're lowering their target of free chlorine, which the disinfection byproduct is the cause of, is caused from chlorine mixing with organic matter. So they are bringing the level of free chlorine, which is still within the limits, that are allowed, but they're bringing it down a couple of ticks to see if they can obviously bring down the HAA5 levels and the disinfection byproducts. So, still, happy to report working with, some people as far as a couple of bigger connections that should be coming online here in the month of March. And again, they were made aware of the issue that we have with the disinfection byproducts, but they are still moving forward with that water hookup. So I don't know if the board has any other questions I may be able to answer, but certainly our upstream partners are, well aware of the issues that we're having, and they are monitoring them just as closely as we are in order to, help bring those levels, continually down. Okay. So
we're still continuing to test on a weekly basis?
Yes, we are. There were tests that were performed last Thursday, Friday, and I believe we are at least scheduled to do them this week, and we're also scheduled to do them next week.
It's about 10 days to get the results back, somewhere around there.
Yep. The lab results, hard to figure, but I know they know, the lab knows that we are, very anxious to get these as soon as possible. So that's why I think the quick turnaround from the March 3rd ones. hopefully we'll get some this week, but I don't know either way. I haven't been told, but we'll keep the fingers crossed and get those results out to everybody as soon as we get them.
Very good.
And Hampstead area, they delivered some of the residential tests
Yes.
in person to some of the residents, so I hope that was helpful and they could explain some of the detail into that as well.
Yes.
So-
Yep. Charlie, who was here, was going to hand deliver those that chose to be done separately with the residential.
Okay.
And I know he delivered 3 out of 5, I believe, and at least emailed or left one of those. So for a 4th, but
Okay.
yes.
And we did residential tests again, right?
Yes.
Do we do the same amount or a few less?
I think we did 3 this past week. But I believe between Charlie and Gene that they were reaching out to those that wanted to. So,
All right, excellent. Do we know if when Atkinson came online, did they have any similar issues with these levels?
Atkinson has had similar issues with these levels. I know the Sawyer tank, according to the one-stop results, was high for them, and I know back in 2020, 2021, when they started receiving water, because it's been a step process coming from Manchester, given the disinfection process and the like, that they did have some elevated DBPs, that they were dealing with for a little while as well. So, not
And then-
an unusual occurrence.
So my last thing on this would be about the notice, right? So users were notified with a letter.
Yes.
Can you just talk about how those letters get triggered? And I think we're going to be we're probably going to have to send them out, right, based on the 4-month average. So we'll still continuing to send. Next month there might be a letter sent, correct?
I'm not 100% sure of the process. That's why, we do have the operator to help guide us through that. If the testing does go out and they look at it on a quarterly basis and also a yearly average basis. So because of the one test that we had at Sweet Hill being 139.7, we need to have like 4 rolling quarters of 60 or below. So given that, in effect, we've used up 140 out of our 240 for the year, that means we need next to nothing. Well, we know that we're not, we've taken steps to bring it down, and we're going to continue to bring it down, but we probably aren't going to bring it down to a level that will average that 140 into the bucket that we need. So yes, there will be additional notices that will go out. I would imagine, at the end of the year, because of the quarterly averaging. But hopefully, knock on wood, things continue to go down, that the processes that we have in place, will continue to work and lower those levels. It won't mean that the water, when the notice goes out, hopefully won't have that byproduct in it at that point, but it will be a result of a yearly look back.
All right. Any other questions?
I think you covered it.
All right. Anything else from the town manager?
It's just been a busy few days with elections, snow, personnel.
Okay.
Nothing unusual.
All right. Well, thank you. Keep up the great work. Next, we'll move on to the Selectmen's reports. Mr. Britton?
A couple of things, I guess, is first, I went to the headstone place next to Westville Supply. We had talked about out in the back here, there's a granite seat with John Ventura's name on it, which we had privately raised the money and put that together and put it out there. I've asked him to go and give us a price of putting John Blynn's name underneath John's. And he'll send that to Mr. Colby, a quote.
Right.
And then the other thing is on a personal note, I want to thank you for being a chairman this year. You did a great job, and I look forward to working with you in a couple of days.
Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate it. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Mr. Coy?
Yep, attended a recreation meeting with John. Last Tuesday, also attended candidates night. It was nice to see everyone out there. Also that Tuesday too, there were a few of us here, we did some testing on the voting machines. Make sure those were all up to go. And then on Saturday, over at the high school, I attended Project Hope. It was nice seeing all the kids walking the catwalk there down the runway. But it was a good time. It was well attended event.
I did
Mr.
attend the rec along with Bill. They were going over the AEDs that are going to be necessary to keep our kids safe at the parks. Going over the strategic plan, and one of the key things is they need more people to be involved in rec. Even if it's alternates, these guys, they're putting in a lot of time, and you heard me at the last meeting. There wasn't a quorum. We couldn't have a voting meeting without a quorum. So they really need some support in that area. Also, the Celtic celebration that was planned for tomorrow has been canceled. So that was over at the library. So that's an event that they had scheduled that is canceled. I don't know of any advance date on that. I did stop in at the Fish and Game, and the Scouts had their Pinewood Derby the other day. What great event! Well organized and managed. Other than that, I'm pretty good.
Okay. All right. I don't have any. I have one thing to read. It's a letter from the majors. From Brenda and I want to thank the Board of Selectmen and staff for arranging the special event held at the Plastow Fish and Game Club on Sunday, March 5th, 2023, to honor us for our years of service to the town and state. We also thank the many family members, friends, neighbors, town, country, and state officials who took the time of their busy schedules to attend. We met and talked with so many people and had the privilege to interact with over the years that it made it seem like old home day all over again. The speeches and presentations were humbling, and we're so appreciative of all the wonderful sentiments that were shared. This was a day we will never forget. It was so overwhelming that I had a tough time trying to say thank you to everyone at the end of the presentations. We also wanted to thank you for the beautiful watches and the flowers that you gave us. The hand-painted flower vase is so beautiful and is sitting on our kitchen table for all our guests to enjoy. We can't think of a more perfect gift than the watches with the town hall on each face. That building is such an iconic representation of the town that we both love and cherish. So thank you again for the wonderful and incredible, meaningful tribute. You'll never know how much your kindness has touched our hearts. Norm and Brenda Major. So,
Well deserved.
yes, well deserved. So, let's see. As I'll say it again, we have elections tomorrow. What time is it at? It's at the Plastow Fish and Game on 18 Mayray Ave from 7 a.m. to
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Sevens are wild.
Yep. And also just keep in mind the Run of the Savages is scheduled for Saturday, April 15th. So I believe registrations are open. You can start to register for the Run of the Savages. It's a great community event to raise money for cancer. So that's it. Any other business to discuss? No?
We need to go into non-public.
Nope, just good
Yep.
luck to everyone tomorrow night, and especially you, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you. We do have a non-public that we need to go into, so I need someone to make a motion to go into non-public under B, hiring.
Motion made.
All right, motion by John Gifford, second by Daryl. You got to pull the board, right? Go
Mr.
ahead. Beth.
DeRoche,
Yes.
Mr. Coy,
Yes.
Mr. Britton,
Yes.
Mr. Gifford.
Yes.
We'll be going into non-public and we won't be returning after that. So thank you. Have a good night. See you at the polls and stay safe with the snow.